Hi guys, it's good to see you. I cannot wait to get started next week with something all new that we are doing as Glenbard North Panthers. So I got this schedule, and this should have come to you also. Basically what's going to happen is every class period that we would normally be together, I am going to be holding a Google Meets hangout so that we can check in with each other and chat and see each other and all that good stuff. So I will post in Schoology what time your period is and what time we will be having a Google Meet. But let's talk about how do you do this. So basically what you need on your iPad is there are two apps. Uh-oh, I've got like a reflection here. Let's see. Okay, if I tilt it this way a little bit. There's one that looks like little like quotation marks, and that's Google Hangouts. But the one that you do need is this one that looks kind of like a green bubble, like a green speech bubble with a camera in it. And that is called Meet. It's Google Meets or Meetings. And that's what we will use to have an actual meeting. So I'll be posting a link, and this will be time when we can just check in with each other. You can chat with me. You can ask questions if you want. I will put some questions out there. It is not going to necessarily be any sort of like formal lesson. It would be something where we can just kind of hang out and see each other a little bit, which is really cool. There's a couple of things that you do want to make sure that you are aware of. So when you get started in your Google Meets, there's going to be at the bottom there's a microphone and a camera. And so when you join in the meeting, you want to click that microphone and turn off your sound, because when everyone comes into a meeting at once, it does get very distracting, especially because we don't all come in on the exact perfect minute. So if you have dogs barking in the background, or someone's talking, or someone's got a TV on, or whatever, that is very hard on everybody who's trying to hear during the meeting. So you want to turn off that microphone and then keep it off until you're ready to have something to say. And then you just tap your screen, tap that microphone, and your microphone comes back on. That's one of the big things. Now, I've been liking in the Google Meets that I've been doing to meet with my other teachers is I have been using my headphones that have a microphone with it. And that kind of helps it so that I can be heard really well. And then also I'm not getting distracted by things around me when there's stuff being said on the meeting. So that's something that you could do also. You also need to think about reducing your distractions. So like on your phone, maybe you want to turn on do not disturb, or at least put your phone on silent so that you aren't being distracted if there are things coming in. Or on your iPad, you should also consider muting your notifications during any Google Meet hangout that you're having with a classroom teacher, just to kind of limit those distractions. You also want to turn off your camera if you're concerned about privacy in your home. So if there is, anything that you're just kind of worried about, that would be, maybe like your little brother running around with no shirt on or something like that, and you're worried about that being embarrassing on your screen, just turn your video off. That's no problem. It is not required for you to have your video on. I will have my video on so that you can see me and talk to me, but you don't have to have your video on. You also want to kind of bear in mind your surroundings and make sure that your background or wherever you're at is appropriate for school, because regardless of the fact that we're not at Glenbard North, while we do this, I am still your teacher, and if I see something concerning, I do need to do something about that. So you want to think about your environment being school appropriate. We also don't want to hear certain things like, oh, you decided to take your Google meetings in the bathroom, and you've got a toilet flushing, you've got a sink running, and you don't have your video on, but we're all listening to that. That would be really inappropriate too. So we want to make sure that that's not happening either. There is a chat feature during a meeting. And so I will talk about that during our first one, that basically up in the corner, there's an opportunity for you to like type questions as you're thinking of it so that you are not talking over each other. That is one of the biggest challenges in these video calls that we'll be having, is when people start to talk, what ends up happening is the microphone's cut out and then nobody can really hear what was just said. And so that's when, you can put something in the chat if you think of something immediately. Like, let's say I start talking about one of the assignments, or somebody asks a really good question and I start explaining it, and you're like, ooh, I just thought of something. Instead of, jumping in and talking in that moment, you'll be able to put things in the chat that I can come back and look at questions later. And I'll talk about that during our first hangout. If you're having Wi-Fi issues, turning off your microphone and your camera can help, especially if there's a lot of people on the Wi-Fi at your house and you're finding that it's operating a little bit slow. That can be helpful, and that's something to think about. The biggest thing that I need you guys to do this weekend is make sure that you have downloaded the Meet app. It's in the app catalog through Glenbard. They did not automatically push it onto your iPad. So you do have to physically go in and download the Meet app. And remember, I told you it has a green speech bubble and like a little camera in it. It's Google Meet app. And so that's another thing that it makes it successful. There'll be a link in Schoology, hopefully. It can also be put into your calendar, and we'll talk more about that as we learn how we like to use this function. And basically, this is really for us to connect and have some fun. I miss seeing you guys a ton, and I want a chance to interact with you. So don't anticipate that this is going to be super formal or anything you need to be worried about being prepared for. It's just something that we're going to get on, discuss, see each other a little bit, and just talk about how things are going. You have an opportunity to ask me anything you have questions about. I miss you. I care about you. I want to see you. If you're not comfortable being on camera, that's okay too. I encourage you guys to keep staying in touch with me. Even if you just want to know hey, Miss V, what have you been watching on Netflix? Because I feel like I've watched everything. I am happy to interact with you that way. If you want to know what have you been cooking because I'm bored of all the lunches I'm making, let's talk about that. There is so many things that we can put together. For my sports marketing kids, if you want to talk about any of the stuff that has come up recently with games being canceled and things like that, I'd love to talk about that with you. So this is not something you have to be nervous about being prepared for. Easy. It's just for us to see each other. And however, there are going to be scheduled times that they want us to do that. The other thing that's changing a little bit in our parameters is that I won't be posting every day on Schoology. I know the last 3 weeks I have been posting just a little something, like an update or whatever. I'm going to be posting only on 2 days a week so that you can manage your notifications and manage the things that you're seeing. You don't feel super overwhelmed. All right, so those are the big things that I wanted to go over with you on video today and get ready to meet with you guys on next week on your scheduled day. What I will be doing is in each of my individual periods, I will post what time our check-in meeting is, that when you have the opportunity to jump on live with me and we can chat. Okay, so have a wonderful 3-day weekend. Please, enjoy yourselves and, be with your families. Reach out if you need anything. I am here to help you out. You're never bothering me, ever. So I might not always be the fastest response depending on what's going on in my crazy household, but I promise you that I am looking at my email, I'm looking at my Schoology messages. I am here to make sure that if you have questions, you can get them answered. If you need a little Miss V in your day, I am here for you. Okay? I miss you. Have a wonderful weekend.